Let's go to this next call. Matt from North Carolina, who apparently also has some questions about pies and smart contact. Hi, Matt. How are you today?
Wow, thanks so much for taking my call, Dr. Bean and Kimberly.
Thank you.
Let's see. Wife was in a limerence. No sex was involved. Lots of phone calls. The best thing that happened was that I found your website and immediately started on the pies.
Good.
Cashed in a 401k, went back to college, got my own apartment, lost 40 pounds, found a church. And we're starting to chat with each other. And I realized about smart contact and what you said with the other caller, I think that not talking to your spouse is just wrong. Why would you do that? If she already felt abandoned by you in the marriage, you're just proving it by not talking to her.
Exactly.
But I'm wondering if I'm going too far, because like today, she called and just said, I woke up and I missed you. She called at 7:30. And I told her how I really felt. I said, I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling sad. Does that push her away because she sort of feels responsible for the marriage separating?
Well, what did she say?
Do I just say, hey, I'm doing great? She said, well, I'm real sorry about that. And she said, I feel sad too.
So she didn't react negatively,
so I'm just
correct?
wondering.
She did not react negatively.
No,
okay.
She did not. No, not at all. And so I think it's going really well. And I know I need to remain patient, but is there some help with like the loneliness? Because I'm sure with everybody who's on this call listening that at night when you go to bed, the demons, they show up. It's really hard at night when it all comes. So I guess my question is all this is going really well. How do I just remain patient and trust? And do I push for reconciliation?
I'm interesting to hear what a psychologist has to say about that. Kimberly?
You called me the psychologist.
I'm the doctor.
Well, right. Side note, when I did get my master's degree, so he got his PhD before I got my master's degree, and he, we started calling him Dr. Beam. So when I got my master's, I said, so now I am Master Kimberly. No one did it. But anyway, these are two different questions that I'm hearing, Matt. The first one being, in the middle of this, on a day-to-day, night-to-night basis, how do I struggle with loneliness? Separate question, and how do we move forward in possibly reconciling? So I'll address the first one, and I'll let Dr. Beam address the second one. Sometimes it is it's not easy, because none of this is necessarily easy to do, but sometimes it is as simple as doing things that you probably already know some of these things to do. Surrounding yourself with a support system is so crucial during this time. And that's one of the hardest things to do, because you don't want to just surround yourself with anyone. You want to surround yourself with people who are going to encourage you, who are going to leave you feeling better about the situation, not worse about it, who aren't going to speak ill of your wife. I mean, there's a ton of things that are going to go into that. But then another layer of that is there's a level of shame and embarrassment that can come from admitting to other people, this is what's happening in my marriage, and hey, will you help me and support me in that? But finding that support system, finding the people that you can be vulnerable with, who will pray for you, pray with you, who you can text or call at night when you're feeling lonely, is one of the best things that you can do. Do you have a support system like that?
Yeah, it's interesting when stuff like this happens. You find out who is your support system and who is really not. Which is also another whammy on top of everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
I do have kind of a support system. Unfortunately, he travels a lot. So I email him occasionally. And I've got some church friends who I've made who I may take a little bit more of advantage of, I think.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
There's nothing easy about this.
I think I need to appreciate that.
It's always tough. And there are going to be the nights. There are going to be the nights when you're going to lie there and like your buddy's out of town and you can't get to him to talk. There are going to be nights when it's just tough. But and we won't pretend that there's a methodology that just removes all of that, because if there is, I don't know what it is. And so sometimes you just kind of tough it out. My recommendation is that when you're having those lonely nights, when you're feeling lonely, rather than letting yourself dwell on that, start dwelling on the image of what things can be like if you can put this thing back together. You see, when you're telling me that she's telling you that she misses you, and that when you tell her that you're sad, she doesn't react negatively, you're in a far better position than 90% of the people that contact us. Now, I know it doesn't feel like that to you, but you are. Now, obviously, it does not guarantee that things are going to work out, but it's a much better position than most people have. And so when you feel those only things, just fill your mind, your heart, your ideas with what could it be if we put it back together. And since you are a church person, that's the time also to pray about those things, those kind of things. Now, when it comes to asking about reconciling, is she giving any kind of indication that she's ready to reconcile with you?
No, she's using that famous word of vacillating back and forth. She really doesn't know where she stands. And I know that did some damage, and there's going to have to be some trust rebuilt. It was damage that wasn't done on purpose. It was just a damage because I'm a man and lack of knowledge.
Now
that I've done my pies, I've got my pies, and I'm in therapy, talking to a therapist, and now I'm able to communicate better with her and respond to those feelings and turn towards her. So
good, excellent. So patience can be a great.
Pies are going to be your only way.
Okay, patience can be a great attribute here, my friend. Just remember that patience can be a great attribute.
Okay.
At the same time, if you're ever having those kind of conversations where it's open and comfortable, and you guys both are getting along with each other, you can mention something about, I know that sometimes you think maybe, and sometimes you think not, and I surely get that, and I don't want to pressure you whatsoever. But there are some resources out there that if ever you're ready can help us think this thing through. And if she responds positively to that, then you can bring up things such as, we might want to check out this workshop that they do over at Marriage Helper, that kind of thing. You're in North Carolina, so you're not that far away. I just would not push it. But I would watch out for those opportunities where it sounds like you might be comfortable being able to do that. So deal with the loneliness the way I suggested, if you can. And when it comes to the potential of reconciliation, I'm suggesting that you just play that by ear, take it easy. And if you do bring it up because it seems like the right thing to do, don't push it and make it in terms of, I understand how you feel, and I know you're not ready to make a decision. There's a thing we can do out there that can help us make a decision or help you make a decision if you wish. But if you'd rather just keep going for a while, I understand that too, and don't push it. Would you agree with that recommendation?
Well, I can't disagree with the PhD.
Well, you can.
You're right, and I have.
And many times.
I won't right now. No, I do agree with that. And real quick before the next caller, even with Matt, he was very specific in the fact he is a person of faith, and he's dealing with loneliness. Even the reframing of the current situation he's in, this might be a time where God is preparing him for the future that he has with his wife. It's a season. So instead of it as a season of loneliness and thinking about everything you're missing out on, reframing it as this is a season of me growing, of me moving, getting rid of things that I don't need in me, filling myself with things to make me better, working on my pies so that the reconciliation will be that much better when the time comes.